It's called Motown, Hockey Town, the house that Joe Louis, Gordie Howe, Henry Ford, Berry Gordy, Walter Reuther, and countless others built. It's the city famous for putting the world on wheels and bringing you the Motown sound. The birthplace of house music and the original Big D. Detroit, Michigan, a city famous for producing some of the best artists in the world. And now, they're doing it again. I sat down with Sylvia Hubbard, Jesse Cole, Tanisha Johnson, and Rosemary Wilson because I wanted to get their take on the community as a whole and where things are going. You've been writing for a long time, I know. How many books do you have now?
Right now I have over 30 books.
Okay.
And counting.
In terms of, let's say, an average rating, how would you say that, local authors stack up against authors in other communities?
I think for local authors, I would say we are basically when it comes to being out there and the work that we produce, I would say it's a 7. And that's because we don't exalt our uniqueness. If we exalt our uniqueness enough, and when I say our uniqueness is because we are from Detroit. Just like you can't get the music anywhere else, Motown sound, you can't get the Motown creativity and the writing anywhere else. So local authors are not taking advantage of saying, I'm from Detroit.
How do you think that the community as a whole can move forward to put itself into the limelight, to show, the local community and the national community that, that there is a viable community of qualified authors, qualified poets, qualified, playwrights, here locally that, that deserve national recognition.
Mm-hmm. We have to support one another.
Mm-hmm.
Being an author, and you're an author, we can understand each other's struggle. So we're not really going against one another. We're in this thing together. We're in this movement together. So if you're having an event, I'm making sure that I can come to it. If I can't come to it, still letting you know that I support you in some kind of way. Maybe I'll buy your book online, or maybe I connect you to a resource that can help you out. But just being able to support one another.
In terms of community and networking, I would say we're at a 5 because we don't do a lot of collaborations, and we don't work together and create a synergy more like we should. Because if we did, we'd be a more literate society in Detroit, and we'll have a lot more literacy going on in Detroit if we actually did collaborate and work with not only other authors but other organizations and businesses.
What would you say are some of the things that we could all do better to just let the world know that there is a viable community here in Detroit? We're strong and we have a lot to say.
I would say we need to do more networking, more synergizing, more collaboration, more in terms of giving instead of taking. A lot of people or a lot of writers don't understand. The more even if you give a little, you still get a lot back. And I say that, where I see a lot of local authors go on and say, buy my book, buy my book, buy my book. And that's not really how you get a reader. You get a reader by helping them out. And then they're seeing the value of what you're offering. And then not only will they buy your book, but they'll also buy it for their friends. They'll tell other people about it. And that's what we should be doing, is if you go out there and help, you'll actually get the readers that you want. But a lot of authors are not doing it, and a lot of writers are not doing it.
Your product should look just as good as theirs, should sound just as good as theirs. There are resources here in Detroit. We have editors, graphic designers. We have the resources here to make your product look like a national best-selling product. But you have to want that.
How many books do you have right now, Jesse? How many books have you written?
2. I have 2. Well, actually 3. I have an ebook. but I have 2 physical books.
Okay, when did you write your first one? When did you publish your first one?
2008.
Do you think that's part of the reason why so many local African American authors choose to go the self-publishing route as opposed to the traditional route has more to do with economics, or do you think it's because the industry doesn't tend to recognize African American authors the way they do other authors?
I would say it's a mixture of both. Plus, as a first-time author, you don't really have a fan base.
Okay.
And so most publishers, they want to know, okay, how are you making an impact locally, regionally, statewide, and nationally? It's more of a, we'll bring you on because we see that you've already made the investments. You have some skin in the game. You already have a platform, and then we're willing to invest whatever in you to make it even bigger. And so I think that's why I self-publish. I self-publish because I get to keep 100% of the proceeds. Well, not 100%, but I got to pay myself. But I get to keep the majority of what I make, invest it back in my business. I don't have to worry about the middleman, somebody telling me this is not good, this is not good, this is not right. That's very attractive to me, to be able to have control over my content, to own my masters per se.
So, how long have you been in editing?
I've been editing over 15 years now.
Okay.
15 years now, professionally.
So it's fair to say that you've probably edited for dozens of local authors.
More than dozens. Probably a few hundred.
Really?
A lot of people come to me by word of mouth. They're in Atlanta, they're in Florida, they're in Tennessee, and everything I do is electronic, so that's not a problem. But I would say about 50% of my clientele is out of the state of Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how do you think the authors in Michigan stack up?
We got some work to do. We got some work to do. Myself included. I won't just say, don't get me wrong. There are manuscripts who come to me and they are polished.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of making sure literally every T is crossed and every I is dotted and every sentence has periods. Because the books are that perfect. Like the Tammy Turners, the Jesse Coles, when they come to me, I already know it's a stellar piece.
So if you had to point out areas where, authors might improve the things that they do, what would you say the things that they need to, the things are that they need to focus more on?
I would definitely say not so much spelling, because I think if you have a really good spell check, it'll catch the erroneous spelling mistakes. But the grammar is a big problem.
Okay.
And probably because, again, with social media, we shorten everything. With Twitter, 160 characters you have to have? So we are taught to shorten everything. And I think we're typing and we know what we mean to say, but every word doesn't make it to the page. So words are falling off the page, and then the editor has to fill in the blanks. Also, again, writing for the reader, not so much writing just to vent or to get something off of your chest. What's in this for the reader? And tell a good story. So no matter what the book is about, if it's about abuse or if it's about something serious, still tell it in a way that's framed around a story. Give me a main character. Give me what this person went through. Show me what that looks like. Make me feel what this person went through, because otherwise I don't have a connect to the book. Even if it speaks to my situation, I have a stronger connection to the book if you gave me a story to go with it, because now this becomes real.
Snap your fingers if you love the D. Snap your fingers if you love the D. Snap your fingers if you love the D. The spirit of Detroit's head bows in shame. Uninviting images broadcast through the idiot box and the tangled web they weave, turn enlightened minds all over the globe to mush with fear of the D. Flights canceled, overnight and extended stays delayed. Pictures of crime scenes on dilapidated streets with abandoned houses and vacant lots. Schools closed because kickbacks weren't thrown back.
Come on.
We're being laughed at, but ain't nothing funny. Stop smiling. Still don't nothing move but the money. Emergency managers handling our cash. Smash and grab ATM heists. 24-hour lockdown. I can't even front that my city ain't messed up, but I've caught an infectious disease called Detroit love that I can't shake. Nor do I want to get rid of.
wanted to talk to you about that poem that you did the other day. Detroit Love. I know the title is longer than that, but that's the part that I read.
Detroit Love and War.
Detroit Love and War.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. In terms of the caliber of the artists that perform elsewhere, how do you think, are they fearful of Detroit artists? Do they mock us? How does that work for you?
No, they're fearful because we're from Detroit, but they love to say that they have a Detroit artist in their venue. Because that struggle, that all of the negativity that they're putting out about us, people want to come out and see, oh, what this Detroit person got to say. I want to hear what Detroit, Detroit, because no matter where we go, we stand out anyway. And the images that the people have as soon as they have us in their venue, it's just like, oh, wow, Midwest, yeah. And they jock us so bad, but they hate us at the same time. It's like a love and war. So that's why I wrote Detroit Love and War. Life, love, and laughter fuel my poetic energy. I watch the news a lot. I see what's happening out here in the streets. I've experienced a lot of the pieces that I write about myself. I hear about what my friends go through. I see what people are writing on social media. So I take all that into consideration when I'm writing a piece.
Where would you say Detroit ranks on that scale of the quality of the artists that we put out?
Off the charts.
Really?
Off the charts. There are talented poets everywhere, but I put Detroit at the cream of the crop. Mm-hmm. There are so many tremendous talents here.
What do you think that artists can do to collaborate better?
We need to actually just come together as one so we all can support each other.
It's a community that's struggling to exist. But if history is any indication, this might just be the next big thing to come out of the Motor City.
Hello, Detroit. You've won my heart. Your renaissance and waterfronts give you a flair of your own. Irresistible you. Hug and kissable you.